My name is Rihanna Putnam, and I'm the Community Engagement Specialist for the Citizen Science Association. I'm here today with Allison Kaywood and Rhea Dunkley, and I'll turn it over first to Allison Kaywood, who is our CitSciVirtual program chair, and she has been working hard on this event since before it was going to be a virtual event, and it's really amazing. And we're really lucky to have her on board. And Allison will give us kind of an overview of what this virtual event's going to look like, and kind of set the stage for how your workshops will fit into the overall event series. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Hi, everybody. So one of the most challenging things in talking about this is when we decided to go virtual, the decision was made that we didn't want to try to do a conference. We didn't want to try to take what we would have done in person and just plop it online, because that's sitting in front of your computer by yourself for days and days at a time is much less fun than what you get to do when you sit with other people and get to talk about things and share things. So what we've tried to do is take the best parts of a conference and think about what would work well in a virtual space. And hopefully that's what you're going to get for CitSciVirtual in May. We really want to emphasize chances to engage with others in the community, to build connections, and to learn from each other. And as people who are proposing workshops, you are a really important part of this. This is going to be one of the places where people can really learn new skills and learn about people who are experts in whatever those skills are, and we'll hopefully be able to take those and kind of move the whole field of citizen science forward. So thank you so much for your interest in the workshops, and I'm going to hand it over to Rhea, who is the chair of the workshop subcommittee.
Okay, hi everyone. So just a few words from me about our vision for the workshop and about submitting your workshop proposals. So how do we envisage these workshops working? Well, really for us, they're a space for sharing of ideas and sharing of knowledge, to think about how we can enable the citizen science community to flourish at a global scale. So really thinking about what opportunities working in a virtual space is affording us that wouldn't have been there if we were in person. So we're thinking then about workshops in the sense of having every submission perhaps having 2 slots within the bill, if you wanted to take 2 on. And one of those would be asynchronous content. So it would perhaps be a video presentation about a citizen science project, for example, or even perhaps audio content. And then there would be a synchronous element where you would get together with other people virtually. And that might take the form of a hack style event or a Q&A session in follow-up to the video. So the idea might be that your participants in your workshop could go away, trial something as a result of watching a video, and then come back for the Q&A or for more information or more demonstration following that. We really want that second session to be very interactive and hands-on, but we'd really encourage you to get creative in terms of the approach that you might take in that session. So we like the idea of using your place, for example. So we talked about, could you do filming outdoors or in the spaces where you do your citizen science work, but we're totally aware that people might come up with things that are far more innovative than we could have imagined so far. So any ideas gratefully received. In terms of how we think it's going to be possible to achieve all of this, it's about that idea of sharing good practice and sharing ideas amongst the community, as well as tools and resources and tips and networking that you'll all bring together through these really interesting sessions. And we really, as I stated already, it's this idea of it being global in scale, so we can have sharing of knowledge from people all over the world in this virtual space, which is really exciting and far bigger than what we could have achieved in person. person, hopefully, as well. So in terms of submitting the workshop proposal, there's a form to be filled out if you follow the links through the website, where you'll outline your idea. We've intentionally not been very prescriptive in terms of themes in order to allow a lot of ideas to be shared. But some of the suggestions that we had from our workshop committee going through, and some of the ideas that we liked, were things like linking what's going on currently in the citizen science context. So thinking about perhaps COVID-19 adaptations could be a way of kind of making it very current. Thinking about global environmental and social challenges in relation to citizen science, even research and evaluation approaches or particular methodologies and new technologies that are emerging in the field that you'd want to share with the wider community. And then the kind of more public engagement focus side of things and the educational aspects too. And we had some really nice discussions about young people's engagement around the themes of kind of bravery and vulnerability and grassroots citizen science. So I think we'd be really keen to see things that are kind of really exciting emerging in those fields too. So that's a kind of vision in the nutshell that we have. And if you have any questions, please do get in touch by the email. And if you've got any creative ideas, like how to create virtual name tags or even things like that, that are kind of really practical, that would be really helpful too. Thank you very much. That's me. Over to you, Anna.
Great. Thanks, Ria and Allison, for setting the stage for what the workshop and conference experience will be like. Before I go into a demo of what our event platform is going to look like, I did just want to talk briefly about what the workshop attendee experience is going to be like. And so we have a lot of emerging ideas. This is a new format for us. And one of the things that we're planning to do is to include in the ticket price a bundle of 4 workshops. And so everybody that signs up for the conference will have the opportunity to attend up to 4 workshops just included in the ticket price. And in this bundle of workshops, which you'll see in the platform in just a moment, there'll be the opportunity for people to engage with presenters across those different topics and to engage with each other. And it should be a really lively space for people to really learn a lot from each other and from you as presenters. Each workshop, as has been mentioned, will include a mix of pre-recordings, some activities for people to do, reflection prompts, and then also the live sessions. And so attendees can watch the recordings on their own and complete at the activities on their own time, and then they can tune into the live engagement sessions to make those kinds of connections that you expect to make in a workshop, and to learn from one another and to kind of dive deeper with you, the presenters. There's also in each workshop bundle, there'll be a workshop discussion feed that's only visible to the participants in that bundle. And this is a great place where people can chat with one another, can ask questions of you as a presenter, can seek out collaborations on some common themes. And so these will be a little bit smaller, more intimate space than the larger event community page. This will just be specific to the folks in the workshop bundle. And one thing to note is that during our virtual event series is going to be packed with a lot of events, and that it might be hard to capture people's attention for large chunks of time in a virtual setting. And so one of the things that we're encouraging folks to think about is how to break your content into kind of smaller pieces that people can do on their own time. So having some asynchronous bits where people are really excited about the topic, they can watch a video and do a reflection, keeping the live sessions to an hour. So that way we're not expecting people to block off a full 3-hour block in their afternoon. But really just thinking creatively about what this virtual experience is going to look like versus an in-person workshop where you would have a half day all together with breaks and lots of opportunities for conversation, realizing that some of that engagement that you have is going to be asynchronous and is going to happen in different formats. And so trying to maximize how we can best do that. So now I want to show you what our what the event page will look like, so you can start to get a feeling for how your workshop might fit into this. So we're using a platform called Mighty Networks that we're really excited about. It's a very engaging platform. This is going to be CSA's new member platform after the conference. And so connections that folks make during the conference and through the workshop, if they are CSA members, they can maintain those relationships and reflect back on the material that they learned during the event series long past the closing of the month-long event. And so when people sign on to the event page, there will be an activity feed. And then for workshops in particular, they can go to the workshops tab, and then they will see the bundles that they've selected. And so, like I mentioned, included in the ticket price will be one bundle. People can select additional bundles that we'll have for sale based on space if there's availability. And so people might be in several bundles. If there are workshops in multiple bundles that they're really excited about, they can do that. And then when we go into one of the bundles, we see, similar to the main page for the event, there's an activity feed where you can see posts and comments from all of the attendees and workshop presenters, so people can follow along here, engage with one another. It's a place where you as the presenter can share things to try to engage the attendees in that bundle to engage with your workshop, with some of your asynchronous material, and get them excited about the live events. And then the table of contents is where we'll find the content of the workshops. And each workshop will get a section in this table of contents. There will be an overview page that will set the expectations for what this virtual workshop experience will look like, how folks can get the most out of it, and then that will lead into folks doing the workshop content. And so I went and pulled some workshops from our 2019 conference just to give you an idea of what this might look like. And so there's a lot of dummy text and some examples from 2019 on some data related workshops. And so if we looked at week one, might be a workshop on data collaborations. This one was led by Heather Fisher in 2019. Here you can see, this is just some of the background that they provided in their overview. For the workshop, you can do a short introduction video. You can talk about what people can expect to gain out of your workshop, and it can be a really great opportunity for people to kind of get a preview of what they'll learn in the lessons and what they'll get out of the live sessions. There's opportunities to do lots of text. You can link to things. And then beyond the overview, you have the opportunity to add additional lessons. And so these lessons are where you would add your asynchronous material. So if you are pre-recording some shorter videos, we suggest maybe in 15 to 30 minute sections, you can upload those. And so if we're to think about the traditional like half day or full day workshop, you would probably have that broken into sections where folks would learn about something and then discuss something and do something and then maybe take a break and do things. So when you're thinking about the virtual setting, think about where those natural breaks would be if you've done an in-person workshop in the past, and try to break your content down into nice manageable pieces for folks to engage with on their own timeline. And so here you can see a short description of what this workshop or what this lesson in the workshop will be about. There can be a 15 to 30 minute video, and then there can be some activities, and you can really easily link to PDFs or other documents. You can share some reflection prompts. I think that's a great idea, and a nice way to promote engagement is to add in some reflection prompts. And then to have a good summary, because with this virtual platform, not everybody is going to be engaging with the material in the same way. And so I think giving people as many different opportunities to engage with your content, the better. And so knowing that some people are not going to have much time to attend live sessions, and they might just be watching some videos in the 15-minute blocks they have between meetings. And so having enough content available that they would be able to get something out of it. And then also having your live sessions robust enough that if somebody isn't interested in watching materials, they just want those connections, that they would get a lot out of those live sessions. And so I think that the way that we structure this is really going to emerge and depend on what you as presenters come up with. And I think there's a lot of great things that you all are going to do and suggest, and we are going to leave that open. This platform provides a lot of flexibility for you to do that, and a lot of different ways to present material. And so the way that these workshops are set up in the platform is you can move from lesson to lesson if you want to. You can also anticipate that some people are not going to have watched that. And so when they come back next, they might end up back in the table of contents. They might go into another lesson, or they might just be interested in the live event. And so you can have descriptions on what your live session is going to be like. And then we can link to an event page. And what's great about the event pages in our Mighty Network platform is that all of the time zones are automatically converted to wherever you are. So it's really shows people like that they're not having to do that on their own. There's the opportunity to quickly add it to your calendar with a Zoom link. And so there's really lots of incentives for people to attend these live events. And so you can say if you're going, maybe going, not going. There would be a description of the event here. And then some nice features that we really like are that you can see who else is going. And so for this event, which I think is, or this is just a test event that we did, I can see that Ria's going, and I could click on Ria and I could send her a message if I wanted to. Or I could leave a comment here and say, hi, like, Ria, I'm excited you're going to be there. And so there's just lots of ways to engage asynchronously. And so I think the more you can model it as workshop presenters, the more your attendees will do this. And so just knowing that in addition to the live Zoom sessions, there are lots of ways for people to engage with one another through the platform itself, lots of places to ask questions. And you as instructors will get notifications about these via email. And so you're not going to have to log back into the platform to see what's going on. You should have the opportunity, you'll get a notification where you can click a link and be taken right back to the platform so that you can respond quickly and keep the engagement and flow going. Let's see. So one other thing to touch on quickly before we open it to questions is that the asynchronous content, the pre-recorded content, we will expect you to record and upload on your own. All of the content we will help you, and we're already planning on having some really detailed how-to guides to make sure that everybody knows step by step how to import their content into this platform and how to make the most of it. We're hoping to do at least one webinar in the spring with all accepted presenters, giving a more detailed overview of how you will upload your materials in this platform. And also holding some office hours during the upload period. So we'll give folks a window of 3 or 4 weeks where you can upload your materials, and you'll have an extra set of eyes on it. And so people can say, oh, that video link isn't working, or this or that. And so there'll be the opportunity to get some of those pieces in place ahead of the event. Yeah, and I think that that's all I have on this. I'm going to go ahead and open it up for questions. It looks like there's a few things in the chat maybe. If anybody has a specific question, I know you're welcome to reach out. I'm sure that a lot of you are probably early in the process of thinking about your workshop. We mostly just wanted to meet today to give you the ability to see what this platform will be like and to start to think about how your workshop might fit into this new virtual context, which for many of us is very new.
So there's a question about, should workshops be run for 4 weeks? So that's So mostly yours will be over a shorter period of time. The asynchronous content will be up throughout the entire month of May 2021, which is when the CitSciVirtual events will be happening. And then as far as the live events, if you want multiple events, if that makes sense for what you're doing and we can fit that in the schedule, we will be able to do that. So you could have, maybe you're in week 2 and week 3, you have an event because there's things for people to do in the interim, or it can just be one. It can be one live event. It kind of depends on what your content is and what's going to make the most sense for your workshop.
Yeah, and as you can see here, like we have week 1, and this is its own workshop. And so this is week 1, and this workshop is led by Heather Fisher. And then this material in this section is one workshop. And then this would be a separate workshop and another workshop. And so if you do have multiple workshop sessions, like this one would be Heather Fisher week 1 and Heather Fisher week 2, and it might be 2 weeks of content, or we can work on breaking it out. But in each section, like you see here, will have its own instructor, which will be the workshop presenter, and you will be responsible only for the content in that one section in the bundle.
Yeah, and so someone's asking if you should provide content that covers 4 weeks. Not necessarily. Overall, we're asking for a maximum of 3 hours of content per workshop, and that can be broken up between live content and pre-recorded content, but a maximum of 3 hours of content for each workshop.
And I'm going to stop my screen share so I can see the Q&A. As far as a minimum amount of asynchronous content that's required, we haven't set any minimums or we've set the maximum of 3 hours total content. I think having some would be helpful and will benefit you, but we don't have any requirements set on that. Yeah, and I think Allison linked in the chat the email for the workshop subcommittee. And so if you have any more project specific type questions or things, you can direct them there.
So there's questions about, can the 3 hours be concentrated into 1 week or day? Absolutely. We're probably not going to let people do 3 hours of synchronous content. We're going to ask that at least some of it be asynchronous, or that your workshop be a shorter period of time. But if it makes more sense over 1 week, that is absolutely fine. It just really depends on the content of your workshop and what makes the most sense.
Yeah, well, and I think one thing to clarify with the asynchronous content is that will be uploaded ahead of the conference. And so that will be recorded and uploaded sometime in early April. And so that will be there when people sign up. And so they can watch that at their whenever they want. But the way that we will message about the workshops is that during your workshop week, when you have your live sessions, the people that have signed up for that bundle will get an email. It'll say, this workshop on merging data sets is going on. It's with Heather Fisher. Here's the description of it. Here's the link where you can go to access the content. And so one workshop will be featured each week. One workshop per bundle will be featured just to the folks that have signed up for that. But folks will have the opportunity to view that asynchronous content at any time during those 4 weeks.
There's a question about the minimum amount of synchronous content. There is not a minimum. So that's up to you and what makes the most sense for your workshop. There's a question about, for workshops with live sessions in different languages, do you also need to translate your content? Yeah, I know you guys have talked about different languages. Do you have thoughts?
I think that we've talked about that as an opportunity, but we haven't finalized any details on how we would handle some workshops or poster presentations in other languages. And so, yeah, check back and we'll have more details on that, but I know it's something that we hope to be able to facilitate. I think where our conversations have been is that some of the content would be in English and some can be in your native tongue. And that I think some of the live sessions, if it makes sense for the workshop topic to be in another language, knowing that that is your audience, I think that those are things that we can look into accommodating.
And I would say in general with a lot of these, like if you have ideas or things like that, if you want to do it in multiple languages, make sure you put that in your proposal. And Ria and the workshop subcommittee are going to be able to reach out and talk, to the accepted workshops and work with those presenters to figure out the best way to get a lot of that done. So if that's something that you want to do and it makes sense for your workshop and your group of presenters, just please put that in your proposal and let us know. There's a question about the policy regarding the rights of uploaded materials. Brianna, do you know? I don't know.
This is something that's come up recently with our posters as well, and something that we'll look into in terms of having some disclaimers on how materials can be shared or not shared and how you want your materials to be used after the conference. And so this is something that's still emerging and that we'll have more details on in January when we're handling acceptances and that kind of thing.
So I know the plan was to do a similar webinar like this for the posters. Do we have a date set for that?
Yes, it's December 7th at 2 p.m. Eastern. And I'll pull up a link real quick to the registration for that. And it will be kind of a similar overview of what the posters are going to look like. And the posters are going to be in a different part of the platform. And so if you are interested in submitting a poster, in addition to a workshop, there definitely will be value. Like this will be recorded and we will post the recording on the poster page of our website after the fact. And so if you can't catch it there will be opportunities to see it in action. Okay, I'm going to post this in the chat. Great questions, everyone. Thank you for being thoughtful. If anybody has a final question or any final thoughts to add. Great. Well, we will go ahead and wrap up. Thank you, everybody, for being on today. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out via email. If you have colleagues or others that are interested in the workshops, I will be sending out a link to this recording to everyone that signed up, and then I'll also put it on the workshop webpage. And so if you know of others that might benefit from seeing what it might look like, what a workshop might look like in the platform, feel free to direct them back to this webinar. But great. Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your Tuesday.